Okay, I've just got out of Chipping Campden now, and it's on the outskirts. A bit easier to talk now. Very busy there this morning. Loads of coaches there. Cheltenham races on this week. Loads of people hanging around there, staying in the hotels, etc. So quite difficult to talk. Started the walk from the market hall in Chipping Campden, and this is also quite famous now for the start or the end of the Cotswold Way. Starts in Chipping Campden and finishes in Bath, or obviously vice versa. The route I'm taking is from Chipping Campden. I'm heading up now, following the Cotswold Way as far as Broadway. Goes up over Dover's Hill, the famous Broadway Tower, down into Broadway. I'll then head across Charles Wickham, Wickhamford, Badsey, and back into Evesham. One of those places I've done before anyway. I'm just checking the GPS. Yeah, we're in the right route. Chipping Campden is quite famous in the Middle Ages as a wool trading centre. Got a church, Roman Catholic church, various schools there from primary up to senior school, or high school now. Next to the church you've got a row of almshouses, grade 1 listed, and still in use today. Basically it's just quite an affluent market town, Cotswold market town in the north of Gloucestershire. I'm heading now up towards Dover's Hill in that direction, so I'll come back to you shortly. Just see Broadway Tower up on the horizon there, and that's where we'll be heading shortly. We're up on top of Dover's Hill now. You can just see ahead of me the trig point. Dover's Hill is quite famous actually for the modern Olympics. The early part of it seemed to start up here by a guy called Robert Dover in the 16th century. It's now owned by the National Trust. A bit of an amphitheatre down here as well. This is where it all kicked off originally. Strange games then they had, I think, shin kicking, tug of war, etc. Not like today's stuff. Some beautiful views across here over the Vale of Evesham and all the surrounding villages. If we can get a bit closer, might be able to see a bit more. Quite quiet up here today actually. I think everyone's off to Cheltenham. Hang on, let's have a see if there's anything nearer. How good that's picking it up. I must get a better camera. Absolutely gorgeous view from up here. Sun shining. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, I've just got to the viewpoint up on top of Dover's Hill now before I head off towards Broadway Tower. Looking at this here, got Ilmington over there, Coventry that way, Stratford-on-Avon directly ahead there, and Birmingham, Pebworth, Ulster, Honeybourne, the Clent Hills in the background. To the left of that you've got the Brainclea Hill, left of that you've got the Tidderstone Clee, Worcester and Evesham, and there's just trees, you can't see any more. So that's enough of Dover's Hill. We'll head off now towards Broadway Tower. Right, before we get to Broadway Tower, I'll give you a bit of information about it. It could be quite windy up there and the noise might affect the video. But basically, the tower up on top of up above Broadway, built in 1798 by James Wyatt from an idea by Capability Brown, who was a very famous garden architect, landscaper. It was built for a guy called George William, 6th Earl of Coventry. It's open to the public and there's parking up there in a deer park. It stands on a beacon hill, which is the second highest in the Cotswolds. In 1822, a press was installed by Sir Thomas Phillips to print verses of his manuscript collection. We also have up there where the Royal Observer Corps are based, and they've got an underground bunker which was used there from 1961 to 1995. I think it's a nuclear bunker because of the Cold War which was going on at that time. There's guided tours around there, on-site coffee bar and shops. I'll take a few bit of a video when I get up there. Let's say talking might not be picked up very easily. Just coming up over Fish Hill now. That's the old Fish pub. There was a pub many years ago when I was younger, now a private residence. We're just going to head up now to Broadway Tower and I'll come back to you then. Beautiful Broadway Tower. Deer Park was in the background as well. I tried to film some deer. It's so windy up here you wouldn't have heard what I was saying anyway. I'm heading down now to Broadway. I'll tell you a bit more about that when I get down there. Still coming down from Broadway Tower down into Broadway. And the views down here, or from up here, looking across, absolutely stunning. It really is beautiful. Now, I'll give you a 360 out, just have a look what the hell's around here. It's all on our doorstep. Absolutely beautiful. The weather's gorgeous. It's after yesterday, all the rain we had, and all across the Vale of Evesham. Stunning. I've just come up into Broadway now. It's a large village close to the Gloucestershire border. It's actually called the Jewel in the Crown of the Cotswolds. There's many fine Cotswold stone houses here. Many 16th century grade 1 and 2 listed buildings. And lies beneath Fish Hill, which I've just come down. The known history of the village is about 5,000 years old. It's one of the first settled sites in the United Kingdom. It was actually mentioned in the Domesday Book. It was owned by Pershaw Abbey. I thought it would have been Evesham, but it's actually Pershaw Abbey. Many shops and businesses here. One of the more famous ones was Gordon Russell, which is a furniture making factory, which is now a museum. A couple of junior schools here. Many pubs and restaurants. Very big in tourism, and there's also the world famous Ligon Arms Hotel here. St Egbert Church, which is 12th century with 14th century additions, is grade 1 listed, and St Michael and All Angels is a grade 2 church built in 1839. And there's also St Saviour's Roman Catholic grade 2 listed church built in 1828. and which was also a monastery. Well, I'll come back to you as we walk down through the village. Just coming down the main street now. This is where basically all properties and shops are anyway. Beautiful sandstone buildings. Still coming down through the high street at the moment. That is a world famous Ligon Arms over there. I'm not sure on the history of that, it's something I must find out about. What a stunning village this is to walk through, absolutely beautiful. See what they call it, the jewel in the crown now. Swan Hotel there. Black and white place is the Broadway Hotel, and the shops and that just go straight up through the town, full of tourists all the time. Well, I've left the Cotswold Way now. That's where I just had my lunch in Broadway, and now heading towards Charles Wickham. I'll tell you a bit more about that when we get there, about a couple of miles down the road. I'll come back to you then. Bye! Coming into Charles Wickham now. What can I say about this? It's a small village situated in the Vale of Evesham, about 2 miles from Broadway. You've got St Mary the Virgin Church here, built in the Norman times, with additions in the 14th century. A spire was added in the 15th century. And rebuilt in the 1830s, or partly rebuilt in the 1830s. Many different styles of house here: brick, black and white, and Cotswold stone. It's actually in Worcestershire, the village now, but up until 1931 it was in Gloucestershire. I know they used to change boundaries around quite a bit. The village actually dates back to prehistoric times, and more recently Roman times. They found many Roman artifacts in the fields around here. The village actually used to be on the route from London to Worcester as a Roman road. If you look around here, you'll still see the old medieval fields, the ridge and furrow fields. There's an old manor house and an old mill here, and I think that's pretty much it actually. And I'll be heading down through the village now and turning right across the fields path towards Murcott, a tiny little hamlet, farm, a couple of farms and a few houses, and that's about it there. Then on to Wickhamford. I'll come back to you shortly. A few shots of the village, bit of Charles Wickham. Okay, well, I'm walking along and the wind's dropped a bit now. A bit about this year. I'll do some longer distances, which I'd like to do. I'm going to do the Wychavon Way again. I did that last year in 4 sections. I'll probably do it in 2 or 3 sections this time. The Isbourne Trail, that's from up on Cleve Hill and follows the River Isbourne all the way to where it joins the River Avon in Evesham. And that's about a 14-mile one. I'd like to do Morton-in-Marsh Station back to Evesham again. I think that's about a 19-mile walk. Also, another one I want to do is get the train to Kingham, walk back to Evesham. That's 25-mile. That's going to be a summer one. And also get the train up to Birmingham University Station. That's just before New Street, and follow the Worcester and Birmingham Canal back to Worcester. And that's what I'm going to call my marathon. That's about, I think that's about 27-28 miles. So distance is just over a marathon. I've also just been looking at the Worcestershire Way, which is from Bewdley to Great Malvern. That's a 2-day, I think it's about 31 miles. The one where I'm trying to find accommodation at the moment is probably around Martley somewhere. If I get some accommodation at a decent rate, I'll go for that one. Also, it'd be nice to get some more done in the Cotswolds as well. There seems to be loads of them all over. They seem to be better waymarked, and the upkeep seems to be a lot better because there's more national trails, and the amount of people actually use them there.